Yeah, it is amazing when you go through these events, these kind of health crises that you do change. I mean, I certainly have had some really major changes since I went through my health crisis at the beginning of 2026, and I'm still not completely through it, but I'm definitely much better, and I'm in a what happened and its significance.
Yeah, so it was on the night of our 10th of July, which would have been the Thursday, the 9th for you guys over there. And it was really an intense experience, very profound. I didn't get any warning as to the content. I just knew I had to get to bed. When an event like this occurs, I get a tiredness and wake. During that process, I saw like an energy just remove the covers, and then I just floated up. And what happened is the rate of the spin of the atoms gets shifted, which then changes the molecular vibration. And now you're phasing out of the physical matter of this world. And this is how it all works. It all happens very quickly. And then I was just lifted up, and I remember I was floating in the room. Then I remember going through the ceiling, all very quickly, because it's just like a tunnel transport beam of light that comes down. Sometimes, depends who's doing it, sometimes a bit of a vortex. And sometimes just a straight stream of light, like a tube around you. And then you just go straight up and go through the ceiling, through all the timber struts, through the iron roof, and then straight through the bottom of the craft. And I ended up being picked up by Salla Warden, which have a craft stationed here permanently, because there's quite a few SSP people in.
Okay, so I am going to describe to you what this video is about. And this video that you are about to see is, I have taken two different videos that George Kavassalis has given information to Michael Salla's YouTube channel. And he's done this a number of times in the past, just given us tremendous information. And this information is about disclosure. It's disclosure. Disclosure is about revealing to humanity that we are not alone in the galaxy, in the universe, and that we really are incredible interdimensional, multidimensional beings. Because on the planet, we're pretty much programmed to believe that we're just third dimensional beings, and third dimensional reality is all it is. Well, these Jedi Admirals that George is going to talk about are human beings that were born on this planet, but they have, through a process that they've gone through, they have evolved to this incredible level where they're called Jedi Admirals because they have Jedi, as in Star Wars, powers, but they take consciousness far beyond what the Jedi did, because the Jedi were always involved in, there was always violence and, good versus evil. And these beings don't get involved in that. They go beyond good and evil, but they go beyond duality to this higher vibration. And there's great power where they come from, and their power is love. And they are here to assist humanity, to assist us in raising our heart vibration so that we can live in this multidimensional world. And what they have to offer us is so incredible. And George talks about this. And they come from, George calls this a creational level. And a creational level is a degree of consciousness, a level of consciousness where we are connected to Creator. Yes, we are connected to the Creator. And we're not fractals of the Creator. We are Creator consciousness. We are equal to Creator. And he also will talk about that. So this first part of the video is about himself and about the secret space program and a little bit about the Jedi Admirals. And then we'll shift into the second aspect, which is more about the Jedi Admirals and the information they have to give us right now in terms of a transitioning, a taking over, and a removal of negative forces on the planet that have been controlling us. And that this process, we are in the middle of this process. Okay, so here we go back to the video.
In this town, several are aware, but most are not even aware they're a part of it. And this is the same setup all around the world. We can get to it, of the nature of it, and it is a vast multidimensional construct. The actual secret space program, you call it a department, you can call it a faction, branch, whatever you want to call it, it is a vast multidimensional operation within itself. So lots, very, very, very detailed, very involved in many different areas of life. And we are all operating on a creational level. That means conscious relationship with the creational intelligences. And that is as pure as it gets. You can't get purer than that, because you are completely one with all the prime creative intelligences, be they what we call the realm of nature, whether we call it the planetary, and then you go to the solar and galactic, cosmic, and then onto universal, multi-universal, and then grand light universe intelligence. So we are one with that. We are in the unified field. We are one with the unified field. And this is where we launch our intentions of operations or doings from. And this is what differentiates those of the natural way of love, natural way of life, natural way of light, to the others, the imperial systems, because you have these gods that sit at the top of each of these empires, and then they have their main empire, then they have subsidiary empires. So it's really important to remember the actual structure of things.
Yeah, that would be good to just kind of help explain to people this hierarchy, because I know the Epsilon Eradani peace agreement that you told me about, that it involved this element involved with the Draco reptilians agreeing to this, to the terms that were presented. Now, the hierarchy, the cosmic hierarchy, I mean, many people who talk about the extraterrestrial presence, they talk about Draco reptilians having a very important role in the kind of negative hierarchy. And interestingly, I just kind of like came across some passages in J.J. Hurtak's book, The Keys of Enoch from 1973, and he was talking about the Draco reptilians back then in his book. So that's kind of like, to me, the earliest reference to this. But you also mentioned the gods. So how, in terms of this negative hierarchy that we are facing and the peace.
So I'm going to stop this here because George is going to talk about the gods in the universe, and I don't want to go into that here. So what he's going to say is that these gods are have been part of, religion is about God, and he says these gods are phony. They pretend to be the creator, sovereign creator of our universe. That's who they profess to be, but they're not. They are these entities, and most of them are dark entities. And the way they get their power, the way they get their power is by people worshiping them. That's why churches on Sundays are filled with people, and they even call it worship. They want people to worship them so that they have power. And creator, the supreme creator of our universe, he doesn't want people worshiping. It doesn't want people worshiping it. That's the last thing it wants. It wants people to realize that we are sovereign creator beings ourselves, and we are just as powerful as creator is. And it wants us to share love. Love is the communication, the way that the universe communicates is through love. And the creator and the creatress, which is Mother Sophia, they rule the universe with love. That's what they do. And these gods get in the way and they pull humanity, they've been able to program humanity to see them as the ultimate supreme being, and they're not. So that's what George is going to say. So I'm going to fast forward through that because there's no point in all that.
Treaty or the peace discussions.
Imagine the multiverse being a book. And it's all the same story, even though there's different parts of the story. We are in the original intention story here in this universal plane or slither or whatever page, whatever, however you want to view it in that sense. So, and all the other ones are branched off, creational, like universal timelines. But we're in the main one here. We're in the organic one. This is the one that binds everything together. And that's why the nested fractal pathway out of the cosmic domain, in other words, the creation of this galactic realm, being a fractal of the cosmos, every star system in this galaxy is a galactic intelligence compressing itself and then incarnating into the galactic, what we call the galactic womb, which is the universal mother expressing herself as this galactic realm, because it's the galactic womb. Hence we call it the Milky Way. It's the nurturing of the mother's milk. And it's not just that it's a milky substance in the sky that appears as that. It's much deeper than that. And this is what I'm sharing with you is what's known throughout the universe. Or this isn't just my perspective. Yeah, it's not a personal thing. This is the construct of create. This is on a creational level. This is how it is. All right. It's not just my opinion, my viewpoint, my perspective. Yeah, it's what is. It's the construct. So, and it's the same for all of us, regardless of your individualized viewpoint. It's what you're inside of, whether you want to accept it or not. It just is. And it took me a while to come to terms with that. And we'll talk more about that sort of stuff later, towards the end, because I've got something very, very important to share in regards to that. So every star system in our galaxy is actually a galactic realm, incarnated, compressed, billions of stars, quadrillions of life forms, everything that galactic realm has been and lived, all the knowledge and wisdom gained from all the life experiences of all the different life forms in that galaxy, all compressed and now expressing itself as a star system within our galaxy. This is where the density comes from. Yeah, it's an incredible amount of compression. The genius behind this is off the charts. It's obviously universal intelligence that has come up with this process. And that's why then you look at the galactic realm, and then the next nested full fractal is our solar system, our sun. So all of the stars in our galaxy unified as one solar expression. That's what our sun is. That's the construct of our sun. So therefore, our sun, the solar being, the intelligence, the spirit and the soul of the sun, is all of the visible light in the cosmos in a concentrated, unified expression. And then we have the solar system, the body of the sun, which is the entire solar system. And then our planet is a fractal of the solar system. And once again, it is the universal mother, the galactic mother, incarnating as this beautiful planet. It is her responsibility to facilitate this process. And that's why in my ancient culture, we know her as Christi Sophia, because inside the heart, soul essence, the core of this planet, is a female version of that sun that you see out there that is expressing itself as a masculine in this epoch. And we are a fractal of the planet. So this planet has her outer, and in my ancient culture, we call it year, which in the Western culture, you use the word Gaia, okay? But it's a mispronunciation of the Logos pattern. Year is the actual Logos. If you really want to connect with her, I highly recommend using that, or Pachamama. Find a Logos pattern that is really most closely aligned to the true essence of who and what she is. So just one moment, all cultures have that, but you've got to go back, way back in your culture to get to the original Logos pattern in reference to the intelligence, the spirit and the soul of this planet. And then she has the outer, and then we have that. We have our outer construct, and then we have that inner sun deep down inside of us. And this is the fractal structure of things. And that inner sun, that inner light, is the light of our soul. Yeah? That is our soul star essence. And even Christ said in the hidden gospel of John, know ye not know that your body is the temple of the Son of Man. You know, it is our bodies are the temple of Solomon. This is the true temple of Solomon, right? Not the bricks and mortar in the Middle East. That's for the plebs who totally don't get it. If you want to know the true essence and what King Solomon was actually teaching, the real teachings, not the stories handed down, distorted, twisted, manipulated stories of who and what he was and what he did down through the ages, because, you know, history's always been written by the winners, and we know that the identities of the people that did good deeds have always been hijacked, twisted, distorted, and manipulated. So, and that's the game that Empire plays time and time again. So who and what we are as a species, and the fractal, the nested fractal structure, is the reason why this peace treaty was able to come about, because of all the brave, mostly women. The ratio is about 80-20.
So what George is talking about here, this peace treaty, and he'll get into this later, but I just wanted to let you know. So on Upsilon Eradani, excuse me, there was a peace treaty, peace agreement that was reached between stellar nations. George says all the stellar nations, I don't know how many that is, participated in this agreement. And that one of the Jedi Admirals from the Earth was in on this agreement, participated in this conference that happened. It happened in July 10th of this year. And he's going to get into what the agreement was, what the peace agreement was, and how that all works. So here we go back
to masculine to feminine energy, who adopted the pain and the suffering of the Eradani system to come and alchemize it. So not only people alchemizing their personal karmic imbalances back into unity, we were also adopted and processing many different karmic imbalances from different star nations within the galactic realm. So it's huge what's going on here. And who we are as a species, we are way, way more substantial and significant as a species than anyone or any one of the gods would allow you to have access to the memory of, or even in written material. So it's their jealousy and their rage. Not all gods. We're working with great gods. Athena is one of the best. You know, she totally gets it, and Prometheus is another one. He is fantastic. That's another fantastic God that is really supporting and helping us in a really substantial way.
What about Yahweh and?
No, he's one of the deeply, which is nonsense, because even when you connect back to the actual creative intelligence of this universe, it sees you as an equal and is so happy for you to go beyond its construct as a universe and go back out to the omniverse and be one with the infinite nature of life again, where there is no creator of life. Life has never been created. It's infinite, it's eternal, it always has been and always will be. There's no beginning and there's no end to life. Yeah? And universes, the way they're created is by an infinite being, internal being, just expressing itself, and that expression becomes a manifested form. If it likes it, it will continue with that, and that's what we call the universe. And then other eternal beings go, wow, that's pretty cool. Can I join in on that? Sure, just let me just refine it a bit, and then you can project an aspect of yourself into my universal creation. It's like one giant fun park, right? And life is one big adventure. And when you come back to the unified field within this universal construct, that is your doorway back out to the infinite nature beyond this universe. So the grand light universe I'm talking about. So the energy that you experience back in the internal and the infinite is the sense of adventure is so, that's the label we give it, is so pronounced. The joy, curiosity, and love, they are four of the most prominent, what we would equate to feelings and emotions in our world here, in this construct, that we can relate to in the infinite and the eternal.
Now, going back to this kind of like negative hierarchy. Like you mentioned the Epsilon Eradani meeting, and the Draco reptilians had agreed or made peace with the, well, who exactly did they make peace with?
Yeah, I was given the background to answering your question before. My apologies. These are such big concepts that we're sharing. I get lost in it sometimes. And so if you have the prime creator that is this universe, then by the very nature of this universe being a light construct, so you have, it's a universe of contrasting expressions, and that's what we call yin and yang. We call the waveform. If you want to get mechanistic and technical about it, we have a waveform that represents the positive, the negative, the yin and the yang. So by the nature of the universe, if you have the prime creative intelligence that is this universe, then you must have a being that's not of this universe, that's entered the universe and then claimed to be the creator of all that is and all that exists. So that's what this distorted ego construct, on a cosmic level, that's what this energy is. And then it has its minion gods around it. Yeah, because this is just a pure ego. You can't even put form to it. It's just this ego essence, this identity essence, and it's purely distorted, deep in separation from the rest of the natural construct of life, and it lives within its own self-deluded reality. And then it's got its minions, and Yahweh is one of those minions. And whatever it's like it has think of these other gods as interface modules for that ego construct. So you've got Yahweh, you've got Allah, you've got God, what we call God, because again, I just want to reiterate and bring clarity, absolute clarity. We have the natural prime creative soul, spirit, consciousness, and intelligence that is this universe. And then we have the gods of religions. And they are completely two different things. The gods that go around soliciting worship, and some of them even demand blood sacrifice, they are deep in separation. And unfortunately, what has become of this world is the minions of these gods, of this God entity. That's what I call it, the main one. It's minions, which are the interface modules which are the head constructs of each cultural, religious narrative on this planet. They are the ones that answer to it, and all the energy of worship goes to this entity, empowers that one, but then each of these sub-entities or interface module, God interface modules, personality interface modules, which are living constructs, living entities, they have their overlord, and they go back to this ego construct, this distorted ego, what I call the main God entity, on a cosmic level. So, and I bared witness to this in 2003. I'm not speaking from someone giving me this information, having read it somewhere or having a fantasy or an idea about it. In 2003, I had direct experience of this, and I saw all the energy pouring off our planet and going to all these interface God entities, and then from there streaming towards this one distorted God entity ego construct. I was able to directly bear witness to it myself.
So if we have, billions of people on this planet that are sending their energy to these gods that you named, and their energy is just being siphoned off by these beings, and then you've got, a small percentage of humanity that are conscious of their true existence as fractals of the greater universal being. So how do things change?
And we're not just fractals of it. It's really important to remember that we come from beyond the universe, and our entire existence inside the grand light universe is a co-creational experience. We are equal with. Okay? We are not a cell of a body. That's another narrative that gets thrown around, that we are an aspect or a little part of this much larger God entity. That's not how it is. We are in conscious.
So I'm stopping the video here because what George just said is so important. And I was a little bit about, so I was raised Catholic. So from a very young age, I was indoctrinated into this religious culture. We even call it a cult. And I knew as a child that it was not legitimate. Like, I didn't feel the power of God. I never felt the power of God, but I did experience the connection with oneness. Even though no one ever told me about it, I experienced the connection with oneness, which is creator energy. And the oneness is the combination of creator, which is the masculine force, and the creatress, or Mother Sophia, which is the feminine force. And they dominate the universe with love. That's how they rule the universe. And as George was saying, we are not fractals of creator. We are creator. We are creators. We are equal to them. That everything is equal. Everything in the universe is creator consciousness. And this was another thing that happened with 3i Atlas. When 3i Atlas came into the solar system, it delivered what are called creation codes. And blue star consciousness was the living embodiment of these craft, of the Jedi Admirals. There were 3 craft of the Jedi Admirals, and they were all 3i Atlas. And blue star consciousness, which is the closest consciousness to the creator. It's like it's our direct link to creator. And it was, its consciousness was the consciousness of these 3 craft. These 3 craft were live beings, live beings, consciousness that were traveled through the universe. And blue star consciousness was delivering to us creation codes. And just in a simple form, creation codes, a code is something like a key that unlocks something. So if you have a code to a lock, you just put the code in and the lock opens. Well, these creation codes allowed us to realize that we are creators. And that was the energy that 3i Atlas and Blue Star Consciousness was bringing into our solar system, which was giving us the ability to realize that we are creators, that we are absolute, supreme creator beings, every one of us. And this whole evolution that we're going through and that George is talking about here is about us realizing that we are creators of our individual reality, and we are creators of this planetary reality, and we are creators of the galactic, and then out to the universe, and then out to the multi-universe. So we are, and every being in the universe, in the multi-universe, are creator beings. And what is happening here on the earth right now, what George is talking about, is that the earth is the center of our universe right now, where all these beings, and that's what this agreement, this Eradani agreement, we'll call it, it involved all of our galaxy, maybe even all of our universe. I'm not sure the extent of it. But the earth is the center of it. This agreement was about us, about what's happening on the earth and how to transform that and change it. So I just wanted to give you that background, and we'll go back to the talk.
Co-creation. Our entire existence in this universe is equal, participatory, conscious co-creational experience.
Mm-hmm.
We're all infinite.
Right, but we choose to kind of limit ourselves in consciousness to either be a minion of one of these gods that's
it's a choice.
The energy, or we can be on a journey of self-discovery and awakening to our true potential as beings that, well, I guess, as you said, come out of the universal structure, but also we embody a fractal of the greater universe.
100%. Yep. Because that is, we're inside this universe, so our entire existence is co-creational. So we are one with the creator, and at the same time we have chosen to journey into the specific realms that have been set up. It's like even when you come into the galactic realm, the realm itself is not veiled. Only certain realities within the galactic space are veiled. You've got to remember the multidimensional nature of things. So even this planet, we are kept inside a very small slither of reality with our conscious awareness. The moment you come out, you start to experience viscerally for yourself. You become sovereign, not sovereign. You become truly sovereign, free, and you are back home to the actual natural way of love, life, and light, and the unified field and the true nature of things. And from there, you begin to see all of the limited realities, frequencies, consciousness constructs that are taking place. And we call it the behind the veil. The veil that everybody's experiencing is a consciousness membrane. It is all in here. And once you get past that, once you get past your identity constructs that you identify yourself through either one imperial narrative or another, you then are home beyond it all. And now the challenge is to walk between the worlds, from the unified back into separation, into the imperial constructs. And that's what I'm doing, and that's what many others are doing.
Okay, all right. Well, it's these are very expansive concepts, and I guess a lot of my viewers might ask the question, well, how does that really connect
So I want to stop that there, and um, I want to ask if Carlotta, do you want to come? Do you have a comment? Or I don't know who else is here. Someone else is here. Does anyone else want to make a comment about this? About what we've heard so far, Carlotta?
Yeah, so Bliss knows that I've watched all of these that he's generously offered us, and especially about what he's focusing on here. What, especially after the last class, where there was the lack of context given, now we have the context given. And so from that last class, I had really been a little disorientated, because of um, there was just so much more to the story than what he could possibly have shared in the time that he did with the class with us, but he was doing his best. So this really gave a much wider panoramic view of the circumstances that are occurring. And a few things really landed for me here. There's again, a resonance, right? That something that you experience, it's not about, up here, like that, what, he was sharing. There's a way of discernment through our sensory capacity. And this is what I primarily rely on a 24/7 basis, walking through life in general, right? I have learned to listen and honor with deep reverence that uh, multisensory information that comes through the body. And so when he was speaking about the feelings that were closest to what it is to be in that pure prime creator consciousness as joy and curiosity and creativity, that started to really light me up, not because I wanted to feel a certain way, but because it is confirming. Like what this information is really my experience with it is that how confirmed I feel and how confirming it is to understand when one has traversed the gauntlet of the human ego level consciousness and begins to choose beyond and outside of it. So he's putting into communication or conversation the literal life experiences that I have personally had and many, many others have, where we just stop opting into the, mass hypnosis programs and or themes and ways of conducting ourselves in this world. It's more like when we recognize and we land, when we learn to expand out of our mental landscape and actually drop into our heart and our gut and our multi-dimensional being, we are literally accessing so much more and can lean in and connect with and communicate with and or perceive and experience so much more that's beyond that. So for me, it was really confirming, and I really resonated with the sentiment about the religion and the relationship between religion and worship, and how entities that are desiring to be worshiped are in and of itself directly creating the separation consciousness, and why it is so difficult to find establishments and or places of communion that do not weave this dynamic in. Like it's so rare to find that in the world. And I really believe that's what Blissful Earth is all about. it is to find a communion and a community to birth a community and a communion with our multidimensional capacity and with the interdimensionals that he's been in communication with. And yeah, how important it is to develop the capacity to be still and to listen, not with our brain's ears, you know what I mean, but listen in our and tap into and develop the multi-sensory of our an ancient intelligence, which is far beyond what this mind can be programmed to work with, right? Or to be reliant upon. And so yeah, for me, that's what really lands the most is to identify. It's like it's a no-brainer, like he says, it's a no-brainer. Like if something's asking you to worship, it is placing itself above you, which is inherent in separation consciousness. And that I know I strongly believe like we already have what I know, like I have experienced, we have everything we need inside of us. And it's more about us discerning the inner path rather than to be led outwardly by someone else. So yeah, this landed quite a bit for me. I still have some curiosities about certain things, of course, but it also, in closing, I would say, it also makes me deeply curious about certain things that have happened in my life and the way they're speaking about receiving information and things. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's another uh, layer that I'm yet to tap into, and that's kind of exciting. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Thanks, Bliss.
Oh, beautiful, Carlotta. Oh, I come to tears. You're saying some of the things you said just brought me to tears, just touched my heart so much to hear what George said reflected, back in through your heart and through your appreciation and acknowledgement. It really touched my heart. So I want to thank you for that. And this information from George is, it's such a brilliant, I believe, accurate way to view our universe, to view creator energy, and to view um, these individual beings, not just human beings, but all the beings throughout the universe, that we're all equal, that we're all creators. And what's happening on the earth right now is the center of our universe, or at least the center of the galaxy. I think it's the center of the universe. I'm not sure. But anyway, this, so what's happening on the earth is we're the center of this. And all this is happening on the earth. And humanity is also the center of this. And we are so significant. Human beings are so significant. And there's a reason why it's happening here. I mean, we're not any more important than anyone else. We just have a different role to play. And all the dark ages, all the horrible things that we've experienced, I guess were absolutely necessary to get us to this point. And now it's time. And this treaty, which we're not going to have time to go into that today, but we'll do another video about that later. But this treaty, this Eradani treaty, had beings from the stellar nations. There was one representative from the stellar nations, and it wasn't the rulers or the people that ruled that world, the imperial aspect, the imperial beings who ruled the world, but it was the elders from those nations who came to this meeting. And then they went back to their rulers, to the imperial, and they convinced them that this is the way they need to go. And apparently these imperial beings, these rulers, agreed with that. And so this agreement, which we'll get into the specifics of it, but just generally is that there's things that the reptilians have still had a hold on the earth. And it shows up in the wars that are still going on, and in any country that has a ruler who has been oppressing their people. Any government that's been at war or has been oppressing their own people, these these rulers of these countries on our planet are being eliminated right now, and is by these interdimensional beings from the galaxy that are coming, and they are doing this. And so they don't use conventional weapons because they don't want I'm sure they're giving the governments that they're taking down an opportunity to surrender. I'm sure they're doing that. And if they don't, then they will take them down with force if they need to. But that is not the way that this is going to be done. And so all that is happening now. And George, we'll talk about that. I'll put another video out soon describing all that. But for now, I just want to I wanted to thank everyone for coming and listening and receiving the vibration that Carlotta and I are putting out here. And I want to thank George and Michael Salla for presenting this information, this intelligence is so beyond, it's fifth dimensional. I mean, this is disclosure. This is disclosure, and this is exactly what the Jedi Admirals wanted to do. They have said, I don't know if I said this before, but they have said that other galactic beings wanted to do disclosure here on the Earth, and the Jedi Admirals said no. They said, we will do disclosure, because the Jedi Admirals are human beings. And they said it is our obligation and our responsibility to do disclosure to our own people. And that's exactly what is happening right now. It is quite beautiful. Go ahead, Carlotta.
Yeah, so case in point here, the main takeaway for me and the invitation I'm extending for you to consider is that it's where, with your free will, you are choosing to pour your life force energy into. Your precious life force energy is what fuels this process. And how we've been led to entertain ourselves with violence through movies, how we've been led to be so desensitized to even nurturing our children. Like, we've lost the concept that our children are literally the most precious thing beyond our own soul level connection. Our children, right? There's so many atrocities evident on the earth. It's like, so all I'm circling back to is like, this is the invitation and the bell ringing of being extremely conscious and intentional about what you are pouring your life force energy into, what you are contributing to, what are you participating with, even if it seems like, oh, but it's just a movie. And I'm like, but is it? Or are these the constructs that keep us in this cauldron of of blindness to what we are actually capable and what's actually available for us to be exchanging in and participating in?
Exactly, Carlotta. And everything, every movie, everything, almost everything online, it's all about separation. It's all about, how can you get this? How can you get that? How can you, whatever it is, it's all about separation and duality. And so stop watching those things, stop participating in that, stop going to movies or watching anything that does that creates separation for you in their consciousness. Because all that is, like George said, that's in your head. That's head consciousness. And you have to get into the heart. And the more you can live in your heart in everyday interactions, in your everyday life, and you are responsible, like Carlotta is saying, all of us are responsible to create the reality that we want. It's not going to happen if we don't create it. And the reason why all these things are happening now that are so miraculous is because many of us have been working diligently, persistently, determinedly in order to make this reality happening. And now it is happening. But the more more people that can jump on board and participate in this awakening, participate in this living in this co-creator consciousness, then the more it will happen. So with that, I'll finish. And so stay tuned to Blissful Earth channel, and I'll be putting more videos out about this in the next couple of weeks. And we'll also be meeting next Monday at 1 o'clock. Thank you so much. And thank you, Carlotta, my dearest. Oh, I'm in heaven. Okay, take care.